There is a brand new Bombshell FBI report released from Kash Patel to Congress that now confirms that there were at least 274 undercover FBI agents present at January 6th. Just as a recap, this is what we were originally told when Congress was investigating what actually happened on that day.
FBI agents or confidential informants actively participate in the events of January 6th, yes or no?
Sir, I can't answer that.
Did any FBI agents or confidential informants commit crimes of violence on January 6th?
I can't answer that, sir.
Did any FBI agents or FBI informants actively encourage and incite crimes of violence on January 6th?
Sir, I can't answer that.
Ms. Sadburn?
That right there should have been our first clue that something was wrong. I mean, people had suspicions anyways before that, but I think that that was the first official indication that, yes, something fishy, something nefarious went down. Because this entire hearing, the FBI had been cooperative, they had been giving details, they had been answering every question. Then all of a sudden, once they started asking questions, hey, was anyone undercover? Did anyone do anything illegal? Did anyone incite the crowd? All of a sudden, oh, we can't answer that. Look, I understand if the FBI has to cover and protect its informants. I understand if they have to protect and cover their methodologies and the specific people involved. But if you can't answer whether or not the Bureau of Investigation did something illegal, whether or not they incited people to violence, that is just a bad look. There is not really any good explanation for that. Well, last year, December of last year, we found out that yes, there were informants present. According to the New York Post, the FBI had 26 informants at the January 6th Capitol riots, and most were involved, a Bombshell DOJ report confirms. Well, breaking as of last night, this was actually broken by Glenn Beck's outfit, The Blaze. FBI had 274 plainclothes agents embedded in January 6 crowds. Congressional source says this was independently confirmed by Just the News. FBI Bombshell, 274 agents sent to Capitol for January 6, and many later complained they were political pawns. Now, this isn't just some random article that's going viral, right? What they actually have here is this 50-page report, which I have a copy of. And by the way, if you want to read this for yourself, because I know most people in my audience want to do their own research, they don't want to, be lied to and be manipulated and, just led down these rabbit holes. I'm going to leave a link to this report down in the comments below. I'm going to pin it as the #1 comment so you can see it for yourself. But we're going to go through a few of the pages here. And look, even though we all think for ourselves, there are certain things we could all use trusted guidance with, like medical advice, taxes, and Medicare. Unfortunately, a lot of Medicare agents push Medicare Advantage plans even when they're not right for you because they make more money doing it. That's why I'm proud to partner with Chapter. Unlike others, they don't just tout the amazing benefits of Medicare Advantage, they walk you through all of your Medicare options. Original Medicare, Medicare Supplement, Medicare Advantage, and Part D, explaining the pros and cons of each. They support you in comparing every single plan against your specific healthcare needs because they want to ensure that you have the best coverage for you. One Chapter member, Jill, said her advisor presented options she didn't even see on the official Medicare.gov website. And in many cases, Chapter saves people over $1,000 a year by getting them on the right plan. So if you're on Medicare or going to be on soon, click the link down below to get in touch, or feel free to call 321-358-2297 to feel confident in your Medicare coverage. So thanks to this FBI report, we now know that many FBI agents are not confident in FBI leadership, or weren't confident in FBI leadership. So this 50-page report essentially has complaints from FBI agents, many of whom were actually there on January 6th. So what this is actually their reviews, their feedback to leadership, and it's basically them complaining about not having any support, not having any safety, not having any training, being unable to handle with the crowds, not being sure what to do, not being able to identify each other, having no transportation, having no communication. I mean, it is complaint after complaint after complaint, basically criticizing FBI leadership. Now, what's really interesting is close to the end of this report, page 46 out of 50 is where we see this information. So you'll see the top line here. January 6th is the deployment date, position type agent, and you will see the Washington field office, that's WFO, 274 agents, and then the note they add here, this includes agents that responded to the Capitol grounds as well as inside the Capitol, the pipe bombs and a red truck that was believed to contain explosives, as well as CDs, ADCs. But where a lot of this back and forth and confusion in the official narrative is coming is this distinction between undercover agents and plainclothes agents. So this report features complaints from plainclothes FBI agents. But let's just take a look at this explanation here. But given the FBI's until now steadfast refusal to disclose the level of its presence at the Capitol, the figure might still be viewed with skepticism in some quarters. The news comes in the wake of claims by the U.S. Department of Justice Office of Inspector General that the FBI had no undercover personnel in the January 6th crowds. We found no evidence in the materials we reviewed or the testimony we received showing or suggesting that the FBI had undercover employees in the various protest crowds or at the Capitol on January 6th, the DOJ OIG said in an 88-page report released in December 2024. Depending on how one reads undercover agents versus plainclothes agents, both statements could be true. And that definitely adds a lot of context to Christopher Wray's testimony under oath.
Things here, and please don't distract here, because we're focusing on those who were there in an undercover capacity on January 6th. How many were there?
Again, I'm not sure that I can give you that number as I sit here. I'm not sure there were undercover agents on scene.
I find that kind of a remarkable statement, Director. At this point, you don't know whether there were undercover federal agents, FBI agents, in the crowd or in the Capitol on January 6th?
I say that because I want to be very careful. There have been a number of court filings related to some of these topics, and I want to make sure that I stick within what's in.
I understand that, but I thought I heard you say you didn't know whether there were FBI agents or informants or human sources in the Capitol or in the vicinity on January 6th. Did I misunderstand you? I thought that's what you said.
Well, I referred very specifically to undercover agents.
Yeah. And so are you acknowledging then there were undercover agents?
As I sit here right now, I do not believe there were undercover agents on scene.
So again, they're playing semantics games. Is it undercover agents or plainclothes agents? Well, this 50-page report has the complaints, the reviews, the feedback from plainclothes agents to FBI leadership. Let's just take a look at some of these reviews. So if we zoom in right here, the horrific events of 1/6 has given us a blueprint for the future. Enforce and investigate equally outside of political biases. The FBI should make clear to its personnel and public that despite its obvious political bias, it takes its mission and priorities seriously. There should be training exercises periodically to work through potential scenarios. Leadership needs to be present. The FBI needs to be impartial. Focus on the investigation. You guys need to be caring more about our safety than what type of masks we wear. Keep in mind that these, like the feedback here, this was in the middle of COVID. So the face masks, that's what they're referring to. You need to care more about our safety as plainclothes agents compared to what types of masks we're wearing. I mean, these reviews, this feedback is just scorched earth on the FBI leadership at the time. Now, the reason, aside from this information just being like confirming our worst suspicions, the reason it's really notable is because just last night, James Comey was indicted for false statements. Well, you heard there Christopher Wray saying no undercover agents or like he wasn't aware of any. Let's take a look at what Merrick Garland said when he was under oath.
It's our constitutional duty to do oversight. Now, in that video, that was your answer to a question to me 2 years ago, when I said how many agents or assets of the government were present on January 5th and January 6th and agitating in the crowd to go into the Capitol and how many went into the Capitol. Can you answer that now?
I don't know the answer to that question.
Oh, last time, you don't know how many there were or there were none?
I don't know the answer to either of those questions. If there were any, I don't know how many. I don't know whether there are any.
I think you may have just perjured yourself that you don't know that there were any. You want to say that again? That you don't know that there were
I have
any?
no personal knowledge of this matter. I think what I said the last time.
You've had 2 years to find out. And the day, by the way, that was in reference to Ray Epps, and yesterday you indicted him. Isn't that a wonderful coincidence? On a misdemeanor. Meanwhile, you're sending grandmas to prison. You're putting people away for 20 years for merely filming. Some people weren't even there yet. You've got the guy on video who's saying go into the Capitol. He's directing people to the Capitol before the speech ends. He's at the site of the first breach. You've got all the goods on him, 10 videos, and it's an indictment for a misdemeanor? The American public isn't buying it. I yield the balance of my time to Chairman Jordan.
May I answer the question?
I'm going to ask you one now. We'll let the gentleman.
Yeah.
Go ahead, but
In discovery, in the cases that were filed with respect to January 6, the Justice Department prosecutors provided whatever information they had about the question that you're asking. With respect to Mr. Epps, the FBI has said that he was not an employee or informant of the FBI. Mr. Epps has been charged, and there's a proceeding, I believe, going on today on that subject.
the charge is a joke.
Just in case you forgot about Ray Epps, he was caught on camera telling people we need to go into the Capitol. He was inciting the crowd to violence. He was on the FBI's most wanted list immediately afterwards, and then all of a sudden, suspiciously, conveniently, just removed from that list. And the FBI said, oh, we investigated him. He's no threat. He doesn't work for the FBI. Meanwhile, they were arresting grandmas who were literally walking peacefully inside the Capitol, throwing people who committed no violence, didn't do any vandalism, didn't attack police officers. They were arrested and put into jail. But Ray Epps, the guy on camera saying, go into the Capitol, we need to take her, like basically really inciting violence, inciting the storming of the Capitol, the FBI said there is nothing to see here. And then obviously they tried to get him on some small thing, totally like unrelated to that. And the FBI pretended like they did their job. They did their due diligence. But it's just not a good look for them. And as more information comes out, it just confirms, again, our worst suspicions. And the crazy part here is for him to claim, for Merrick Garland to claim that he didn't know, he doesn't know any of this stuff. I mean, this report that Kash Patel put out, it's not as if his office just compiled this. This is a report that the government has had, that the FBI has had for multiple years, and is just now being released to Congress, and is just now being made public. So it's just really hard to take with a grain of salt. So again, the reason all of this matters is because with James Comey being indicted, it makes you wonder what other indictments are coming down the pipeline. And John Solomon actually hinted on this last night on Fox News.
I think other government officials are in danger of being indicted in the coming weeks, some in the FBI, some in other parts of the government. This is the beginning of a large accountability roundup in government. And I think what's really remarkable, most of my career I've spent uncovering FBI cover-ups. The FBI has a long history of misleading Congress. Comey falls into that. But the evidence against Comey tonight comes from the FBI and its new director, Kash Patel, who promised radical transparency, and he actually provides the key piece of evidence that leads to this indictment. If you're a member of Congress and you've been tired of being lied to by the FBI, tonight's the first time the FBI actually did something about it. They turned in their own man tonight. I think that's an extraordinary part of this story.
Yeah, we're going to have a really deep dive into.
And just as a note of irony, this is a flashback of when James Comey was on Jen Psaki's show on MSNBC. He was fantasizing about President Trump being arrested, President Trump being put into jail. And now that Comey has been indicted, his own words have come back to haunt him.
So a lot of people have suggested that there are a range of factors that would make it difficult to put the system has not been tested in this way. Do you agree with that it would be difficult or nearly impossible for the law enforcement institutions to put him in actual jail?
No, they would just put him in a double wide somewhere out near the fence, out in the grass. And he would eat there, he'd shower there, he'd exercise there, he'd be away, as Danya Perry said, from general population, but it's obviously doable.
There, in his own words, James Comey basically turned President Trump into a zoo animal, turn him into a zoo exhibit, put him out there, like, just absolutely gross. And, well, those words have not aged well. And like I said, they've come back to haunt him. That video is now going viral all over social media. And people are saying, hey, if you wanted that for Trump, why don't we give you that same treatment, especially for the alleged crimes you've committed? Again, I say the word alleged because it legally has not been proven, and I don't want to get into trouble. But as always, all of that is just my analysis and commentary. And that is what's going on in the world of politics from my point of view. And I would love to hear from you. So do you think we will ever fully know the story of January 6th? Or do you think it will forever remain, shrouded in mystery and cover up? Let me know your thoughts on that down in the comments below. Personally, I believe that January 6th was two things. I think number one, it was a lack of crowd control. President Trump had requested the National Guard. He had requested more security. And so I believe the lack of security allowed this riot to happen. On the other side, I do believe that it was instigated, potentially, likely, by several bad actors from within the federal government, including potentially these undercover FBI agents. You have people like Ray Epps, and I get officially, the official narrative is he wasn't one of them, but you have on camera people charging and inciting the crowd, and suspiciously, conspicuously, those people aren't the ones that were charged. And on top of that, the timing of all of this, right? What was the point happening on January 6th? Don't forget that people like Ted Cruz actually wanted to send these vote tallies back to the states to investigate what was going on. They wanted to debate voter fraud. And right as they started this debate, all of a sudden the Capitol was breached. What would the Trump side have to win by disrupting that process? Absolutely nothing. So it makes no sense. Again, the question of the day is, do you think we'll ever know the full story? Let me know your thoughts down on that below. If you haven't already, please be sure to leave me a thumbs up. I know it's a simple thing to ask for, but it really does help me reach more viewers like you in the algorithm. Be sure to smash the subscribe button and to check out one of these videos.